In some sensitive circumstances, people interviewed for BBC programmes have to be guaranteed anonymity. It may be that they fear reprisals locally. They may be political dissidents under a repressive regime, or they may be involved in an issue of national importance on which they'll only speak out if they cannot be identified. Interviewees must have faith that the techniques used to hide their identity are absolutely foolproof. Their well-being and even their lives may be at stake, as well as the reputation of the BBC. On television, there are two broadly defined ways of disguising people. The first is during filming on location. The second is after the filming has been done, using post-production techniques. The great advantage of doing it on location is that there's never any risk of undisguised material arriving from the film library at a later date and being used by mistake, and it's quicker for on-the-day news stories. Using graphic devices may be more effective, but they need more time. Not so much of a problem for current affairs programmes or documentaries. If the disguise is put on in graphics, the producer must ensure that it's also put on any original material which ends up in the library.
So I was sort of living day to day to that day. So
first, the methods of disguising people during filming.
I just couldn't believe how he'd been released after so short time.
Backlighting is done as the interview is filmed and gives a silhouette of the interviewee, but there have been errors and people have been recognised. It's vital that if this method is used, the senior editorial figure on the day views it before transmission. The utmost care is necessary with backlighting. The camera person must make sure that no detail of the face is being recorded. If there's the slightest shadow on the road cassette, techniques could be used to enhance the image and identify the speaker. In extreme cases, where the road cassette could come under scrutiny later, there should be nothing, even in the setup shots, which could lead to identification. Distinctive hairstyles or features may be a giveaway. Wearing a hat or a wig can help. The environment in which the interview is conducted may also leave clues, so make sure all personal items are removed from view. Another on-location method of hiding someone's identity is to shoot only their shadow. This technique is relatively little used, but is most effective, particularly when shot face-on. Hairstyles and features cannot be picked out, and there's little risk of identification. It may help too in making the interviewee less nervous, as the camera will not be pointing at them. Filming from behind may be an attractive option when time is short or when the person must be interviewed outside. But there are obvious drawbacks. The back of most people's heads is recognisable to those who know them well. And from a production point of view, it can look strange if the reporter doing the interview is different from the one compiling the report. A technique often used by documentary filmmakers is to focus on the hands of the person being interviewed. This can work well in a longer film, but in a more pacey news package it can look odd. More artistic methods can be used by current affairs programmes, which have time for careful filming and for careful checking that the final result is foolproof. Now the post-production graphic devices that can be used. Blobbing is the most effective of these. But to work properly, the hair as well as the face must be blacked out. If the blob is too small, the technique can be ineffective. But if it's too big, it can look absurd and distract the viewer from listening to what's being said. Think carefully about how to make the device appear less startling. The usual blob is a soft-edged oval, but a different shape with a hard edge could look better. And remember the rushes. Make sure the library gets a blobbed version and wipe any others. Another graphics-based way of protecting someone's identity is pixelation. This is a technique which has been used for several years, but it didn't take long for viewers to spot that if fine pixelation was used, they only needed to squint to recognize the face. Making pixelation coarser may help, but even when a very small number of cells is used, the method is not foolproof. Although viewers may not be able to recognize the face, people with access to the right software can unpixelate the picture. So it's essential to avoid this method in important cases where those watching may have access to such software. On occasions, a voice track may be run over a caption with a silhouette. As well as disguising a person's appearance, it's often necessary to disguise his or her voice as well.
Speeding up voices makes them sound like cartoon characters.
Slowing down voices can be equally unsatisfactory.
These effects can easily be undone using available technology. There's no doubt that the best way to secure anonymity is to use an actor's voice.
Enabling me to play a further part in combating the IRA.
If there isn't time to do this, then what the interviewee says has to be paraphrased in the track. For the most part, maintaining the anonymity of an interviewee is simply a matter of common sense. Backlighting can look good. No distinguishing hairstyles or telltale ornaments should be shown. Filming someone's shadow is a useful and elegant means of disguise. It's particularly effective when shot face-on. A back shot can work, but the subject may still be identifiable to people who know him or her. Blobbing may be crude, but it does the job, giving complete anonymity. Pixelation is by no means foolproof and should be avoided where at all possible. If you concentrate on hands and feet, make sure that tattoos or even rings don't give the game away. If in doubt about how to proceed, refer upwards. And it's vital that when the blacking out has been done, it's always checked by a senior editorial figure on the day. If the BBC gives a commitment to anonymity, it must keep that promise.